Hi guys, Maikeru here. This is my video about fletching training after the mining and smithing rework, looking into what arrows or darts are good to do. I'll be comparing broad arrows with rune arrows, rune darts and addy darts. I'll be comparing the XP rates and the GP rates for each thing. Is it still worth it to do broads? Is it better to do rune arrows or rune darts? Let's find out. I insta-bought everything to get the prices that I used in the calculations of this video. As you can see, the rune dart tips bought fairly under mids, alongside rune arrowheads buying just over mid and headless arrows buying just over mid alongside feathers. So most things are mid price except for the rune dart tips being under mid because they haven't quite updated since the mining and smithing rework. The fact that you can make a lot of these an hour and you can do that in free to play means it's a decent free-to-play moneymaker, and this seems like the stable price for the darts now, because a rune bar is only like 2.5k. Means you can make like $1 million an hour or something making rune dart tips. Anyway, now that I've shown the prices that I bought the rune items for, I'm going to quickly show you where you sell these items. In Tavali, there are loads of tutors around, like there's a woodcutting one, you've got the fire making, herb lore, and there's a fletching one right here. If you trade this fletching tutor, you can sell all of the stuff you make with fletching, like arrows, darts, things like that. And she offers you a decent amount of money for each of them. If you sell rune arrows on the GE, it's about 150 GP for mid, whereas you sell them to her at 153. So you're selling it higher than the GE mid, and you can sell as many as you want. Rune darts sell for 105 GP each, and addy darts sell for 19 GP each. Again, in my calculations, I have minused this price from each one, because this is a consistent price you can get for every single one of these items. So when you are making your stuff, whatever you choose to do, sell them to this woman. This is a downside with your broad arrows that you make with fletching. You cannot sell them here or anywhere. You cannot sell them back. The only thing you can do with your broad arrows is disassemble them for some components. Other than that, they have no use except for actually using as ammunition, which you just don't do. But they give you some decent components. As you can see from the broad arrows, I get precise components, I get crafted parts, stave parts, head parts, things that are used a fair amount. When it comes to the experience and cost compare between broad arrows and rune darts, it's on screen now. With arrows, you can make 45,000 arrows an hour, which is 3,000 makes as you make 15 arrows every time. With darts, you make them much faster and you can make 53,000 darts an hour. You make 10 darts at a time, so that's 5,333 makes. You make a lot more darts an hour, but it's a lot less AFK, which means you're going to have to be pretty much active the whole time that you're doing this. You kind of have to be active with arrows anyway because it's only like a 15-second AFK period, but darts is a 5-second AFK period, so it's even less AFK. When it comes to the experience drops that you're going to be getting, broad arrows you get 225 XP each, rune darts you get 188 XP each. But like I said, you make the darts much quicker, so an XP drop being smaller is fine. Looking at the GP loss, broad arrows are 1,485 GP loss per make. Rune darts, on the other hand, are 2,370 GP loss per make, so they're nearly twice as much. So as you can see, rune darts are considerably more expensive. Broad arrows are around 7 GP and XP, and they're 625,000 experience an hour. Rune darts, on the other hand, are 12.5 GP and XP, but they're a mil experience an hour. So you get a lot more experience an hour for just over 5 GP and XP more. So yes, they're more expensive, but 375k experience an hour more is quite a lot, especially if you do it on double XP. For people who have a lot of money and want to save time, rune darts are actually a very viable way now. When it comes to addy darts, they're just not really worth it. I've got all of the breakdown on screen here. Addy darts cost nearly the same to make as rune darts. As you can see, they're 2,351 GP a make. But because they cost nearly the same and they give less XP, that means addy darts are 15 GP and XP for 800k experience an hour. They just don't seem worth it at all. You're much better off doing broad arrows or rune arrows until rune darts and then upgrading there. So I've done all the calculations, and the calculations are on screen if you are interested, but addy darts are a no-go. They're just not worth it. Now this is something that surprised the hell out of me. looking at Rune Arrows. So like we saw earlier, broad arrows are 225 XP drops. Rune Arrows are 187.5 XP drops, so they're less. Because you can sell your Rune Arrows back, a Rune Arrow is only 195 GP a make. So if we look at the GP per XP and the experience an hour, I'm probably just going to do Rune Arrows from now on. The thing is, they released the feather packs at shops, which made Headless Arrows crash. And with the grace of the elves and all of the mining and smithing stuff, Rune Arrowheads are at an all-time low as well. These two going hand in hand, having Headless Arrows and Rune Arrow tips super low, means they're so cheap to make. Broad Arrows are 7 GP and XP, and they're 625k experience an hour. Rune Arrows are 1 GP and XP, and 560k experience an hour. So yes, they are 65k experience an hour slower, but you save 6 GP and XP. They are 7 times more cheaper than Broad Arrows. For me personally, I'd say bye-bye Broad Arrows, and hello Rune Arrows. For me personally, when I found out this information, I sold my 1 million Broad Arrow sets that I was going to use for 200 mil Fletching, and I'm now buying 1 million Rune Arrow sets. So obviously I kept the Headless Arrows, I'm just buying the Rune Arrow tips, and I sold my Broad Arrow tips. My goodness, this is cheap. This is fantastic. This is just so cool. I wanted to share this with you guys because I found this was like one of the coolest pieces of information that I found in a long time. It's going to make Fletching so much cheaper and so much more accessible to everyone. Not only are they cheaper and barely any slower, you don't have to spend Slayer points in learning how to make them. Rune Arrows, big thumbs up from me. Fantastic. Either way, that is it for this video. Just a short one showcasing just how cool these arrows and darts are. Obviously, rune darts are quite expensive, but they are very good for people that want fast XP. Do give it a like if you enjoyed it, you learned something new. Subscribe if you're new for loads of future content all related to RuneScape 3. And until next time, see ya.